Hi, so my name is Britt, and we are here at Sangha Studio, and today we're going to do a Love Your Brain Friendly class. So what that means is it's a class for anyone who's ever experienced a traumatic brain injury of any type. So that could be something like falling on the ice and hitting your head a little bit, something often called a concussion, mild or to severe. It could be a brain contusion, could be a whole number of things, different traumas that happen to the head. So ways that we do classes, we're going to move a little bit slower. I'm going to give a little bit less detail as we move through our shapes. And if you were in the studio and wherever space you're in, I would encourage you to maybe have the lights off or the lights kind of dim. No extra sounds or like music going, because we won't have any music in class today. And then if there are scents in the space that you're in, try to limit those to as much as you can within the control that you have of your space. So we'll start in a comfortable seat. So that could be sitting up on a bolster if you have one, or a pillow, block. If you're at home, there's a variety of props that you may or may not have. I have with me 2 blocks, a blanket, and a bolster, but know that you don't have to have those things. You don't even need a mat to practice on. So the most helpful thing I would say is if you have a blanket at home that you can grab, either from the bedroom or the couch, maybe a pillow for under your head at the end, that's great. Blocks, I've seen a whole bunch of creative things get used for blocks. You could use a book. I've seen rolls of toilet paper, water bottles, kind of anything that the intention of the block is to bring the floor up to meet you. So anything that accomplishes that is perfect. So go ahead and gather your things, and then we'll start in a comfortable seat. All right, so start by finding what is your comfortable seat, and that can look different for all of us. For me, that's sitting cross-legged up on a bolster. That could mean having one or both legs extended if that's a little bit more comfortable. Or you could come to sit on your shins. This is called our hero's pose, so sitting on the shins. Anything that allows you to feel comfortable, that could even be sitting in a chair. So from there, give yourself a little bit of movement for whatever seat you've decided to come into. So that could be rocking side to side, rolling out through the shoulders. If it's comfortable, maybe a little bit through the neck. Perhaps rolling out through the wrists. Nice. And then let these movements start to get a little bit smaller as you start to settle into stillness. And then as you arrive here, take a big breath in through the nose. And part the lips, exhale. Nice. One more just like that. Big breath in through the nose. And part the lips, exhale. And then from here, if it's comfortable, the eyes can close or the eyelids can get a little bit heavier, the gaze coming to the floor in front of you. And take a moment to observe how the outermost layer of the self, how the physical body feels right here, right now. Maybe there is a particular part of the body that's coming more into focus. And perhaps it's an understanding or a reading of the body as a whole. What's your energy level or your mood today? And this isn't a time where we are judging or critiquing. We're gathering information. So we're observing how is the body today and how does that inform the practice that I'm about to do. And perhaps we're seeing areas that we want to move into or move away from during our physical practice. And then start to observe what it's like to breathe. And try not to change the breath, but just notice, similar to how we observed the physical body, notice the next layer of the self, the breath. And where can you feel the breath moving? Is it more comfortable for the breath to enter through the nose or through the mouth? Perhaps a combination of the two. And then what is the journey of the breath looking like? Does it stay mostly in the upper chest? And then does the breath travel all the way into the low belly? Again, right now we're not changing or judging how we're breathing, we're just observing. And there's no right or wrong way to breathe or to be. And then I invite you to bring one hand to the upper chest and one hand to the low belly. And then continue with that same breathing that you've been doing. And start to notice what the connection is between the hands and the breath. And so as you breathe in, can you feel the hands lift? And as you breathe out, the hands hug back in. Now we'll layer on a little bit of a visualization. So on your next breath in, fill the lungs bottom, so into the bottom hand, all the way to top, to your top hand. And then as you breathe out, empty top hand, all the way down to the bottom hand. So breath in, fill the lungs from the bottom, all the way to the top. And then as you breathe out, empty top, down to bottom. 3 more times like that. Breath in, fill bottom to top. Breath out, top to bottom. Breath in, bottom to top. Breath out, top to bottom. Last one, big inhale, fill bottom of the lungs all the way to the top. Empty top of lungs all the way to the bottom. From here, we'll layer on a little bit of movement with our breath. Keep that same steady, full breath. On your next inhale, reach the fingertips all the way out to the sides and then up towards the ceiling, like a big stretch at the start of the day. And as you exhale, hands float down through heart center. Same movement twice more. Big breath in, reach the fingertips wide and high towards the ceiling. Breath out, hands float down. Just one more big breath in. And full breath out, hands come to heart center. Hold the hands at heart center, take a breath in. As you breathe out, interlace the fingers, push the hands away, find a little bit of a rounding through the upper spine. And then as you breathe in, let the hands float high, gaze can lift. As you exhale, hands float all the way down to meet the floor. Twice more like that. Breath in, hands come to heart center. Breath out, interlace, round, push away. Breath in, hands float high. Breath out, fingertips float down. Last one, breath in. Interlace, round, push away. Breath in, hands float high. Breath out, fingertips float down. From here, we'll take a little side bend. So bring your right hand down to meet either your thigh, a chair, or the floor. And then as you inhale, sweep your left hand high. Okay, so reach the left hand up. Find some space on the left side body. Big breath in. And as you breathe out, a small side bend over to the right. Nice. Breath in. Breath out. Breath in. Breath out. One more inhale here. And full exhale. Your next inhale, reach up through the left hand. Find that nice long spine again, and then we'll take a rotation. So your left hand moves towards your right knee. So you might call this a twist. I like to call it a rotation. We're rotating around the axis of the spine. So you don't have to move too far. We're starting to warm up the spine. And take a breath in. And then breath out. And breath in. And breath out. And one more full inhale here. And then use your exhale, unwind all the way back to center. This time, heels of the hands come next to the hips. Seated cat-cow. Start to roll the shoulder blades together. You can gaze up a little bit, send the chest forward, breath in. As you breathe out, slide the hands down the legs, round through the spine. Nice. Once more like that. Breath in, open up through the chest. Squeeze the shoulders. Breath out, round. Next breath in, come all the way up, nice long spine. This time, left hand will root into the thigh, chair, or the floor. Next inhale, right hand sweeps high. Nice. Find that length here through the right side. Breath in. Breath out. Breath in. Breath out. Nice. From here, your side bend. Reach over towards the left. Nice. 2 breaths here. Big breath in. Full breath out. Breath in. Breath out. Next inhale, reach nice and long through the right fingertips. Once you get that long spine, then find your rotation. Right hand moves in the direction of the left knee. Nice. Full inhale. And complete exhale. And once more, breath in. Breath out. Last inhale in this shape. And then use your exhale, come all the way back to center. Seated cat-cows again. So heels of the hands come next to the hips, open up through the chest. Breath in. Breath out, slide the hands down the legs, round through the spine. Nice. Breath in, open up. And breath out, round. Last inhale, come all the way up to a nice long spine. And then from here, we'll find our way to our tabletop. So you could shift off to one side, roll off the shins. And if you're sitting on anything, you can shift that off of your mat. If you're taking your tabletop shape, it could be nice to bring a blanket underneath the knees for a little bit of extra padding, but know that you don't have to do that. That's just an extra add-on. And then you'll take your blocks or whatever you're using as your blocks to the front edge of your mat, just so you'll have them during practice. And then from here, start to come into your tabletop shape. So the knees will be underneath the hips, hands underneath the shoulders. And then from here, take a moment, wag the hips a little side to side. Start to notice what it's like to be on all fours, to have weight shifting from left to right. And then start to come back to what is your neutral tabletop. So find stillness in this shape. And we'll move through our cat-cows. So from here, let the belly drop towards the floor. Bring your gaze to the front edge of your mat. Take a breath in. And then as you breathe out, round through the spine, bring the gaze between your hands. 3 more times like that. Inhale, let the belly drop. Gaze to the front edge of your mat. And then breath out, round. Gaze between the hands. And breath in. Shoulders move down the back. Gaze at the front edge of your mat. And breath out, round. Push the floor away. Gaze moves between the hands. Nice. 1 more time like that. Breath in. And breath out. Next, inhale, come back to a neutral spine. From here, we'll play with a little bit of balance. So I like to build a progressive shape. So to start, more weight will move into your right hand. And you're going to inhale to lift your left hand up into space. And so this shape can be called sunbird or bird dog. And it'll be done in 3 parts. So option 1, you'll lift your left hand up. Nice. As you hold here, hug the belly button back towards the spine or take a big breath into the low back. Take a breath in here. Nice. Next step is to sneak the right toes back behind you. So there's a long line of energy from the left fingertips to the right toes. Know that if this feels like a lot of weight on the right wrist, you can bring the left hand back down. So any variation, big breath in and full breath out. Breath in and breath out. Final option in your shape here is to squeeze your right butt cheek, lift your leg up, let them hover. So wherever you are, the arm and the leg are reaching in opposition. Nice, big breath in And breath out. Breath in. Breath out. One more full inhale, fill up the body. And as you breathe out, anything that's lifted comes back down to meet the mat, and then take the hips in a little tail wag side to side. Maybe flip the wrists over, take some pressure off of the wrists. And then we'll start to come into our second side. So one of the most beautiful things about our yoga practice is we have two sides. And how can we take the experience from the first side and not make it the expectation of our second side? So it is a different opportunity, a different chance. Let it be an experience of its own. So set yourself up. What did you learn from the first side that you want to take into the second side? And that knowledge from your experience, but letting it be its own. So start out, maybe take the right hand, reach towards the front wall. And then notice, hug the belly button back towards the spine. Start to find your strength here. Nice, big breath in. And full breath out. Hold right here, or option to extend the left toes back behind you. Know that your hand can come back to the mat if you'd like. Nice, big breath in. Breath out. Breath in. Breath out. Final option, squeeze through your left butt cheek, lift the left leg. Breath in. Breath out. Breath in. Breath out. Last cycle of breath here. And you'll use your next exhale to bring everything back down to the mat. Take your counter pose here. So start to listen in. Are you getting any signals from the body of what it might want in response to that shape? And then from here, start to find your way back to what is a child's pose. So the hips will sink back towards the heels, and this is a nice opportunity if you have a block or a block-like shape or maybe a blanket. It can come underneath the forehead to bring the floor up to meet you. And as you come into your child's pose, reach the fingertips long towards the front edge of the mat and the hips back behind you. And take a breath in. And a breath out. And breath in. And breath out. Know that you're welcome to stay here in your child's pose for as long as you'd like. But if you're feeling like you want to layer on a little bit more movement today, you'll use an inhale to lift the chest, slide whatever prop you have there out of the way, and then glide yourself back up to your tabletop shape. From your tabletop, walk your hands one hand distance forward in space, and then shift your weight forward. So this is an elongated plank. Take a full breath in here. And then as you breathe out, bend at the elbows, lower all the way down to the mat. From here, 3 baby cobras. Press the tops of the feet into the mat. Then use your inhale, fill the lungs, lift the chest, squeeze the shoulders together. And then exhale, lower back down. Twice more like that. Breath in, lift up. Breath out, lower. Keep the back side of the neck nice and long. Look for dirt on the floor. Big breath in, lift up. And breath out, lower down. From here, push the floor away. Come all the way back up to your tabletop. And then shift your hips back towards your heels, child's pose. Your prop can come right back under the forehead if you'd like. 2 breaths here. Breath in. Breath out. Breath in. Breath out. I'll move through that once more. On your next inhale, come all the way forward to your tabletop. Walk the hands one hand distance forward in space, and then shift your weight forward. Nice. Take a full inhale here. Then as you exhale, slowly lower all the way down to the mat. Press the tops of the feet down. Inhale, lift the chest. Exhale, lower. Breath in, lift. Breath out, lower. Last one, full inhale. Complete exhale. From here, push the floor away, come all the way back up through tabletop, and then shift the hips back towards the heels. 2 breaths in child's pose. And breath in. And breath out. And breath in. And breath out. On your next inhale, come forward to your tabletop. And then from here, if you have blocks or your block prop, you're going to bring it underneath your hands at any one of the heights. Know that you don't need to use these props. They're just an option. And I like to walk my blocks a little bit closer to myself. From here, take your right foot and step your right foot forward 1 or many steps. And as you arrive here, see if you can start to stack the knee over the ankle, thinking about a supportive stance here. Nice. The intention in this shape is to find some opening in your back thigh. So maybe you let the hips start to drop towards the floor. Nice. Maybe the place that you've arrived in feels like enough sensation. And take a full breath in. And a full breath out. And breath in. And breath out. So one more big breath in. And full breath out. From here, if the back toes are tucked, untuck them. Press the shin into the mat. Nice. And then from here, start to magnetize your legs together. So start to feel some strength build in the lower part of the body. And take a breath in. And a breath out. And then you have some options. We'll build this shape up again. You could stay right here with your hands on some support. Or on your next inhale, sneak one hand and the other up to your front thigh. Nice. Notice how that shape changes. Can you start to draw the legs together again? Breath in. And breath out. Nice. Another big breath in. And breath out. So this could feel like a balancing pose for you today. And know that one shape won't fit all of us. So give yourself a little bit of play. Do you want to heel toe your right foot out to the side? Make a wider base that will support you. Or heel toe your foot back in. Nice. Kind of play with where's this spot where I feel the most balanced. Do I want to bring my hands back down to the blocks? Nice. And then find that spot where you feel the most confident, the most at ease. Finding a balance between the effort and the stillness. Just take a breath in and a breath out. Hold here, or on your next inhale, sweep the hands high. And take a breath in and a breath out. And breath in, breath out. One more full inhale here. Then as you exhale, bring the hands back down to meet the thigh. Nice. Again, root down through the legs. And then on your next inhale, bring your left hand up in front of you. Nice. Make a thumbs up position. So you're giving yourself a thumbs up. Nice. And then bring your eyes to focus on your thumb. Nice. So all of your attention and awareness goes right to your thumb or maybe your thumbnail. Your head is going to stay steady as the hand moves. So this is an eye exercise. Nice. So take a breath in, notice the thumb. And then slowly start to move the thumb out towards the left. Keep your head as it is. Just the eyes follow. And then when you reach a point where you can no longer see the thumb, and slowly start to bring your thumb back towards center. Keep the eyes on it. And when the thumb reaches center, start to lift the thumb towards the ceiling. Eyes follow, head stays steady. And slowly lower the thumb all the way back down. As the thumb comes to center, then let the thumb drop towards the floor, eyes follow. And then thumb lifts back towards center, nice and slow. Pause for a moment in center, staring at the thumb. And on your next breath out, hands come to meet the support of the front thigh or down to the blocks. And as you breathe out, hands come down to your blocks. If your blocks are on the inside of the foot, switch the blocks to frame the front foot. And on your next exhale, start to shift the hips back towards the heels. Start to find some straightness through the front leg. Your blocks or your hands can move with you. And then ease into it. Inhale, rebend the front knee, draw forward. Breath out, shift the hips back. Find straightness in the front leg. Nice. 3 more times like that. Breath in, draw forward. Breath out, shift back. And breath in. Breath out. Breath in. And breath out. Next time that you breathe in, rebend the front knee. This time your hands or your blocks will come on the inside of the foot. It makes it a little bit easier. Kickstand the right foot back. You're in your tabletop shape. Nice. From here, shift your blocks off to the side. We'll move through one vinyasa pass. We'll start in child's pose. So knees can be wide or narrow. Hands reach towards the front wall, chest dips towards the floor. And take a breath in here. And a breath out. And breath in. And breath out. And on your next inhale, press through your hands. Lift yourself all the way up to tabletop. Hands walk 1 hand distance forward. Shift your weight forward. Your breath out, lower all the way down, nice and slow. Press the tops of the feet into the mat. Inhale, lift the chest. Neck stays long. Breath out, lower down. Twice more, just like that. Breath in, lift. Breath out, lower. And breath in. And breath out. From here, press through the hands and the knees. Use your inhale to lift all the way back up to tabletop. And your exhale, shift back, child's pose. 2 breaths here. Breath in. Breath out. Breath in. And breath out. And your next inhale, press through the hands, come all the way back up to tabletop. And we'll move through this shape on the second side. So hands can come back up onto blocks or props. And then step your left foot forward in space. 1 or many steps to arrive there. And again, you're looking for an opening through the back thigh. So can you start to let the hips drop towards the floor? Nice. And give yourself a little bit of play here. So part of our practice is about getting comfortable or learning or realizing what it's like to be in our bodies. So every time we come to the mat, that's a little bit different. So know that you don't have to arrive in a shape and be like, all right, I'm here. You can play around a little bit, see what happens. Nice. And all the while that you're playing around, notice what happens to your breath. Nice. Can you start to gather information from the way that you're breathing? And then start to arrive in stillness. Big breath in. And full breath out. And breath in. And breath out. If you've tucked the back toes, untuck them. Press the top of the foot into the mat. And that same drawing of the legs together. Breath in. And breath out. And then from that strength, one hand and then the other can come up to the front thigh. Find your strength in the lower half of the body, and then can you soften the shoulders down the back? Find some ease there. And breath in. And breath out. And hands can stay resting on the thigh, or on your next inhale, sweep the hands high. 3 breaths here. And last inhale. And as you exhale, hands come back down to the front thigh. Nice. Root the left hand into the thigh, draw the legs together. Then on your next inhale, your right hand will come out in front, make a thumbs up. And so same exercise we took on the first side. Let this be an experience of its own. So nice and slow, the head will stay steady, just the eyes will follow the thumb as it moves out to the right hand side. So when the thumb gets as far over to the right as you're able to see, slowly bring the thumb back towards center. As the thumb reaches center, slowly lift the thumb up towards the ceiling. Keep the eyes on the thumb, head steady. And slowly bring the thumb back down towards center. And then thumb drops towards the floor. Nice and slow, thumb moves back towards center. And then take a cycle of breath here, big breath in. And complete breath out. One more inhale. And then as you exhale, both hands come down to the front thigh, breath in. And as you breathe out, hands shift down towards the floor or your props. And from here, blocks will frame the front foot. You're moving into your half splits again. So as you exhale, ease the hips back towards the heels. Find some straightness through the front leg. Blocks can move with you. Breath in, rebend through the front knee, glide forward. Nice. Breath out, shift the hips back, find some straightness. Breath in, redraw forward. Nice. Breath out, shift back. Breath in, draw forward. One more full breath out. Big breath in. From here to come back to tabletop, props or hands come on the inside of your front foot, and then step the left foot back in space. From here, props slide off of the mat, come into your child's pose, either wide knees or narrow knees. Nice. 2 breaths here, breath in. Breath out. Breath in. Breath out. Option to stay right here in child pose or to take your last vinyasa pass. If you'd like to take your vinyasa pass, use your inhale to lift up to your tabletop. Nice. Take a breath out here. So whether you're in child's or you're moving through your vinyasa, we're all breathing together. So next breath in, walk the hands 1 hand distance forward, shift your weight forward. Breath out, lower all the way down towards the mat. Press the tops of the feet down, inhale, lift the chest, baby cobra. Breath out, lower. Twice more like that. Breath in, lift up. Breath out, lower. Breath in. Breath out. Next, inhale, push the floor away, come all the way back. Exhale, child's pose, where we all join. And full breath in. And full breath out. Breath in. And breath out. And on your next inhale, tent your fingertips. So you're coming all the way up onto the tips of the fingers. And then you're going to spider crawl the fingers over to the right hand side. And then as you breathe out, start to flatten through the hands. Nice. Breath in here. And breath out. So we're bringing a little bit of a C curve shape into the spine with the intention to find a little bit more breath through the left side of the body. 2 more breaths here. Big breath in. Breath out. Breath in. Breath out. On your next inhale, re-tent the fingertips. Spider crawl them all the way back to center. Take a breath out. Breath in, lift the chest, spider crawl all the way to the left. Breath out, flatten through the hands. Find that opening through the right side here. Breath in. Breath out. Breath in. Breath out. Nice. 1 more big breath in. And full breath out. In your next inhale, re-tent the fingers, crawl the hands all the way back to center. Take a breath out here. And then on your next inhale, crawl the fingertips back towards you. Come to sit up on the shins. So from here, we'll lower all the way onto the back. So if you are kneeling on a blanket or on another prop, you can shift that off to the side. We'll move down onto our backs for a few minutes, and then we'll move into a restorative shape that you'll have a few different options for at home. So if you're sitting on the shins, you can shift to one side and let the legs come out in front of you. Nice. And then from here, soles of the feet will meet the floor, lower all the way down onto your back. Nice. And as you arrive here, you can hug the knees in towards the chest. Give yourself a little rock side to side. Maybe creating small circles with the knees so that you can massage out through the low back, moving clockwise and counterclockwise. And then from here, bring soles of the feet to meet the floor. Bring the arms along the side body. Roll the shoulders down the back. And this can be a nice place if you'd like. You can have a pillow underneath the head or roll a blanket, which I'll show you how to do in a few minutes. If the head feels like it needs a little bit more support, you can go ahead and do that right now. Otherwise, you can leave the head as it is. So from here, bring the arms along the side body. Take a breath in and a breath out. From here, on your next inhale, we'll move just the arms. So use the breath in to lift the hands towards the ceiling and then back behind you. And as you breathe out, the hands lower all the way back down to the floor, nice and slow. 3 more times like that. Entire breath in to lift the hands all the way back behind you. Think of a nice big stretch. And then breath out, hands float all the way back down. Nice. Twice more breath in, lift up. Breath out, lower. Breath in. Breath out. This time the hands press into the mat. Take a full breath in. And a full breath out. And then from here, we'll move just the hips. So you can walk the feet a little bit closer if that's comfortable, or another way to get into this shape is to bring the shins parallel to the floor and then drop the feet right down. So the arms are going to press into the floor, and on your next inhale, squeeze your butt cheeks, lift the hips. As you breathe out, bring the hips back down to meet the floor. 4 more times like that. Breath in, squeeze the butt, lift the hips, and breath out, lower. Nice. Inhale, find firmness through the lower half of the body, lift up. And breath out, lower. And breath in, lift. Breath out, lower. Last one, breath in. And breath out. Just take a moment here, breath in. And breath out. And feel all parts of the body that are pressing into the floor. And then take a moment to check in with the two movements we've just done. The movement of the arms and the movement of the legs. Did they both feel pretty good, or did one feel better than the other? And so at this point, we have a few options. First option is that you'll use your breath when I start to cue you to lift just the arms. The second option is to move just the hips as we breathe. And the third option, which I'll demo for you, is to move the hips and the arms at the same time. So the intention here is to pick the shape that felt most supportive of your practice today, not the shape that your ego wants you to take or move through. So which one lets you breathe and stay as grounded as you can? So we'll all start by rooting down through the feet and through the hands. Take a breath in and a breath out. And then on your next breath in, you will lift up either hips, arms, or both, marrying the two movements together. And as you breathe out, everything lowers back down nice and slow. 4 more times, whichever option you take. Breath in, lift up. Breath out, lower. Breath in. Breath out. Breath in. Breath out. 2 more times. Inhale. And exhale. Last one, full inhale. Lower down, exhale. From wherever you are, draw the knees in towards the chest. Hands can come onto the knees. Take some little circles. And then from here, soles of the feet will meet the mat. We'll roll all the way up to sit. So you could roll left or right side, however feels the most supportive and comfortable for you to get there. Move nice and slow. And then the shape that we're going to come into, we'll do a restorative shape and a short meditation. So I'll show you what the shape is we're going to get into, and then you'll see if you can find it at home. So the shape is called Stonehenge. If you have 2 blocks, I like to set my blocks up on their highest height and then take my bolster over top of them. A really nice variation for this is the edge of a couch, or you could build up with a few blankets or a few pillows. You also could put your legs up the wall if that's a comfortable shape for you too. The intention here is to get the legs a little bit higher than the heart, as long as that's a comfortable shape. If that doesn't feel comfortable for today, you can come to a seated meditation while we do this, or you can lay down flat on the mat in more of a traditional Shavasana shape. Wherever you are, make sure that the head is supported. So I like to take my blanket and I like to give it 1 or 2 little rolls and then slide it right under where my neck will go, or my head and my neck. So then it's always a little fun to get into this. You don't know if it's going to fall over while you're trying it, but your legs will spin up and the calves will come on top of your bolster or the edge of your couch or maybe a bed. And then your pillow comes underneath the head. And as you arrive here, see if you can get some flatness through the low back. Nice. And you can add on as much as you want to this shape to make it as grounding, as supportive as you want. So you could place another blanket on top of the belly or on top of the body. If you had eye pillows or little weights, you could place them in your hands to really ground down through the hands. You could bring an eye pillow or a blanket over the eyes to block out some light. And then as you come into this shape, the arms can be wherever feels most comfortable. So they could be along the side body. They could cross over the body in more of a constructive rest shape. Or the arms could come over the head, crossing through the wrists in diva arms. Or you could rest the hand on the belly and a hand on the chest. And so take a moment here to find your supportive hand pose. And then if the eyes are still open, see if you can let the eyelids get a little bit heavier. And take a full breath in through the nose. And then part the lips, exhale. And from here, start just as we did at the start of practice by noticing the physical body. So what are the areas of the body that you feel pressing into support of props or of the floor? And know that as you do that scan, this doesn't have to be a still practice. So are there shifts or changes that you want to make to find greater comfort? And know that that's allowed. And take another full breath in through the nose. And as you breathe out, see if those points of contact can get a little bit heavier into the support of your props. Start to release any excess tension or holding through the body. And also acknowledge that that's a process. So try to be as kind and generous with your body as you start to enter into this conversation of, can I soften? Can I relax? And if that isn't going to happen today, that's okay. And can I start to witness or notice my practice here? To notice where I have tension or holding. And to be present with whatever that is. Present with that sensation or that thought pattern. And then as you're here, bring more of your awareness to your face. And see if you can soften the space between the eyebrows. And then let that release travel down into the jaw. Perhaps bringing a little bit of space between the two rows of teeth. And letting the tongue become heavy in the mouth. And then from there, let that ease travel down through the neck and into the shoulders, allowing them to get a little bit heavier into the floor or the wall. And start to notice the center of the body, your core, your midsection, and begin to watch the breath. And just as we did at the start of the practice, breath in, let the lungs fill bottom to top. And empty out top to bottom. And breath in, fill bottom to top. And breath out top to bottom. And breath in. And breath out. And breath in. And breath out. And then bring the awareness into the hips. And consciously release holding through the big muscles of the glutes, through the sides of the hips. And let the front side of the pelvis get heavy into support. next breath out, let the entirety of the leg find a little bit more ease. Maybe with a wiggle through the toes or a clenching of the calf muscles and a release. And then again, bring your awareness back into your breath. And then let your awareness sit solely on the breath. And let it become what is most interesting to you in this moment. And notice how it's moving in and out, whether that be through the nose or through the mouth. And what is that comfortable depth for you to breathe? And perhaps tuning the awareness in so much that you can notice if your inhale and your exhale feel like they're the same length, or maybe one part of the breath is a little bit longer. And again, there's no right or wrong way to breathe. And I invite you to stay in this shape, watching the breath for as long as you need to today. To truly let yourself have the experience of restoring, relaxing, and renewing.